everybody, my name is Scott Waters. Going to do another artist spotlight. This time we're going to focus on Canadian band Helix, formed in 1974 by vocalist Brian Vollmer. They stuck it out through the 70s until 1979. Their first album came out on a very small independent label out of Canada, H&S Records, and this is that record, Breaking Loose. Sound here, very much in the style of 70s hard rock, heavy metal bands. Not real extreme, just straightforward, kind of earthy, hard rock, heavy metal, from the 70s. Now, Helix ended up, they kind of get lumped in with the hair metal of the 80s, but that's not really the case. First of all, they predated a lot of that bands, but also, like I said, sounds like this, very 70s sounding. Very good album. I have an odd copy of this because it's a very nice, clean copy, but it's got an insert inside of it. It's just a, white record sleeve, but if you look really closely, it's signed by this lineup of the band, which is amazing. First of all, you got Paul Hackman, who passed away. Paul stayed with the band until his death, really. Paul Hackman here. And yeah, it's got Keith Zerbrig on here, Brent, Brian. Yeah, it's just got everybody on here, so very cool. Kind of weird to have them sign the insert rather than the record, but whatever. Nice to have it. 1981 was their follow-up record on H&S Records. A few member changes. Stylistically, not a huge change. Still kind of has that 70s sound. You've got members who would stay in the band for years, and guitarist Brent Dorner and guitarist Paul Hackman, and those two would go on to be with the band through the 80s. And then, of course, Brian Vollmer in the center here, who is Helix. Again, black and white cover, again, sounding very 70s. I had this one signed when I was out visiting my brother, Captain Howdy John, out in Canada. Him and I went and visited with some of the guys in Helix. Actually went to, I think it was Brian Dorner's house. And but we met with Brent too, so Brent signed this right there. Actually, we did go to Brent Dorner's house. Hung out with him and had a beer and hung out, and he was having a big picnic, and it was a lot of fun. And then Brian Vollmer, of course, also signed it. Went to his birthday party out there, which was kind of neat. 1982, their first album on a major label, Capitol Records, No Rest for the Wicked. This is the album that made me a fan. Listening to Metal Shop on WMMR, WYSP, one of those two stations out in Philadelphia at the time, and they played the song Heavy Metal Love, and I loved it, Heavy Metal Love. So became a fan, bought the album. It's just, again, straightforward heavy metal. Not much different from like Judas Priest Screaming for Vengeance or Crocus Headhunter, and those kind of albums that were coming out in the early 80s. Just straightforward heavy metal. Wasn't like overly polished. It was heavy metal. It was early 80s heavy metal, and that's what this was. Again, they get lumped into the hair metal category, but there's not really anything hair metal about this. It's not polished, it's not poppy, it's just straightforward heavy rock. So, does a fool ever learn? Let's all do it tonight. Heavy Metal Love, Check Out the Love, No Rest for the Wicked, Don't Get Mad, Get Even, Ain't No High Like Rock and Roll, Dirty Dog, Never Want to Lose You, and White Lace and Black Leather. And no, that is not a song off this. It is a new song that was on this. Alright, and along with that, here's the 12-inch single for Heavy Metal Love, back with No Rest for the Wicked. And it says, plus previously 2 unreleased tracks. It's got Everybody Pays the Price and Breaking Loose, which was from the earlier, the independent album. So yeah, it was unreleased as far as the Capitol Records was concerned, but no, it was not unreleased. There were new songs recorded for this 12-inch record. And then next up we have probably their most well-known album, Walking the Razor's Edge, 1980. What's the year on this? I don't remember what year it was now. Regardless, it has their huge hit on here, which is Rock You. And I've got several versions of that here. So here's the Rock You radio single for that. And Rock You is kind of the song that trapped these guys into being labeled the hair metal. It is a kind of one of those goofy sing-along 80s songs. A lot of fun in concert. It's one of those crowd songs you can get the crowd into, like kind of like We Will Rock You from Queen. where you get the crowd involved in it, and it's just kind of trapped the band into having that, because it's a very poppy song, it's a very hooky song, and it's definitely not meant to be, you know, a blow your face off heavy metal song. Much like, you know, like Warrant's Cherry Pie or Def Leppard's Pour Some Sugar on Me. It's just kind of got that 80s schlock, and it kind of trapped him. But the rest of the record is not really like that. And I still like the song, don't get me wrong. It's just people, that's what they associate when they think of Helix, is Rock You. So, but anyhow, so you got Rock You, Young and Reckless, Animal House, great song, Animal House, Feel the Fire, When the Hammer Falls, Gimme Gimme Good Lovin', which is a cover song, I believe, My Kind of Rock, Make Me Do Anything You Want, 6 Strings, 9 Lives. Hey, little shout out to 6 Strings, 9 Lives, who has a YouTube channel on YouTube. He's a huge Helix fan as well. And You Keep Me Rockin'. So, I don't know why I can't remember the year on this thing. I'm thinking 83, maybe even 84. But also from that album, here's a 12-inch picture sleeve single with Gimme Good Lovin' and When the Hammer Falls. And next up, let's see if I can get a year off this one. By the way, Helix is playing in the background if you can hear it. Anyhow, definitely a more polished album for them. Not quite as raw and heavy as those last two, but a great record. This thing is front to back, just a solid album from them. Long Way to Heaven. The band is, as you can see, they're still dressing like a heavy metal band, save for Brian, who's purposely wearing white here due to the title of the album cover. But I mean, these guys were never like, you know, spandex lipstick and Aquanet hairspray to the sky, you know. So I just don't understand how they get labeled a hair metal band. But great stuff on here. The Kids Are All Shaking, Deep Cuts the Knife, which was the single from this album, kind of a, I guess you call it a power ballad, I don't know. Ride the Rocket, Long Way to Heaven, House of Fire, Christine, Without You, Schools of Hard Knocks, Don't Touch the Merchandise, and Banging Off the Bricks. Again, pretty much the same lineup that was on the last 2 albums. Brent Dorner, guitars, Paul Hackman, guitars, Brian Vollmer, Daryl Gray on bass, who also played in the last 2 albums, and Greg Fritz Hintz on drums, who is, you know, the consummate, the Helix drummer. You know, he's the Joey Kramer of Helix, or the, I don't know, it's Neil Peart of Helix. You know, he just kind of has to be there for it to be Helix. Okay, along with that, here is the Deep Cuts the Knife. This is a radio single, 12-inch single. Same song on both sides. Nothing much to this, just a little cool collector's single. And next up, return to a slightly heavier sound again, less polished than the last album. This would have been, what, 1980? Again, I don't remember the year on this one. I should have looked these years up, but I'm just going off memory. I think it's like 86, 87, somewhere around that area. But yeah, Helix, Wild in the Streets. I always like the cover. I mean, it's a little cheesy. It is definitely an 80s cover. You didn't have Photoshop back then, so you can actually get the claw marks to look like they're actually on the wall, but still a fun cover. A great album. The band toured for this quite a bit. So we have Wild in the Streets, Never Gonna Stop the Rock, Dream On, which is a great song, not an Aerosmith cover. What You're Bringing to the Party, High Voltage Kids, Give 'Em Hell, Shot Full of Love, Love Hungry Years, She's Too Tough, and Kiss It Goodbye. And again, you can kind of see the look of the band here. Really not going for the pop metal look. They're dressed in black leather, spikes, studs, the whole bits. They're just not a pop metal band. They never really were trying to be. They're just a straightforward heavy metal band. So, and then this is actually a radio promo on EMI Capitol, but this was a live album. Live at the Marquee, featuring Young and Restless, Rock You, Make You Do Anything You Want, Gimme Gimme Good Love, and Animal House Heavy Metal Love. But again, you can see the live photos on the front. This is, I don't believe this one was printed and released to the public. There's not even a barcode on it, so I'm pretty sure it was just a radio promo thing. Again, my copy is autographed by most of the band. When I got to meet the guys in Helix, of course, that was just a few years ago, and Paul Hackman died many years before that, so my copy is not signed by Paul, but it is signed by all the rest of the guys. You can see Rock You. Brent signed Rock You on there. And there's Daryl Gray, there's Brian Vollmer, and then Brent Donor. And Brent still works with the band. He doesn't play guitar for them anymore, but he still works with them. He does a lot of their graphics. He does video production for them and stuff like that. So he still works with Helix, even though he's no longer in Helix. Really cool guy too. Got to meet with him. He showed me through some of this Helix stuff. They had you know, the gold records on the wall. He showed me that kind of stuff. Let me hold one of his classic guitars from one of the videos. I actually shot a little video of him doing a Led Zeppelin song on a beat up old guitar, which was kind of fun. So it was really cool meeting these guys. Just down to earth, fun guys. So live at the Marquee, Helix. I don't remember when this one came out. Is there a year on the back of it? Let's see. Recorded live in London Marquee, but nope, don't see a year. And this would have been like 1989, 1989, 1990. Band down to a three-piece. Brent had left the band, although I do believe he had a part in the songwriting here. It may even recorded a song or two on here, I'm not sure. But this thing is ridiculously hard to find on vinyl. This is the US pressing, which it's weird because it has the CD-size cover on here. So I guess it was a very limited run of these things. What was the year on here? I'm pretty sure it was 1990, 89, 90, somewhere in that area. But again, you can see the band in the back. No spandex, no big hair, just a straightforward, down-to-earth rock and roll band. And again, this is when I took to have signed when I went out to meet those guys, and they all signed it. So, very cool. Yeah, and including Brent. He did play on the album, but he's not pictured on the album. So now we're going to skip a whole lot of years because I just don't have any vinyl from the middle 90s and up until Bastard of the Blues. And this is an album that came out on my own label, No That's a Metal Records. Myself and Bill Baffert are partners in that label, and this is the test pressing from that album, as long as the insert. The album came out on 2 different color vinyl, on blue and black, and I have, of course, one of each. This, I don't know which one this is. We have not pressed up CDs for this. Oh, this is a sealed blue copy. Still sealed. And I'm not going to open it for that, but early pre-orders also came with a promotional CD version of the album as well, and a sticker. That's what this is right here. This is what's playing in the background, and I think it's a great album. Again, just very earthy, down, straightforward, heavy metal and hard rock stuff. This song in the background is more of a kind of a bluesy number, but still, the Helix kind of ran the gamut from the bluesy hard rock to straightforward heavy metal to power ballads, a little bit of everything. So let's see what color this one is. It's probably black, yeah. So my blue copy is still sealed, and probably will stay so for a very long time. And the black copy is my player copy. And playing in the background is actually the CD version. Just a great album. Again, I should mention that on this album you have Brent is gone, Paul Hackman had passed away, so you've got 2 new guys on here, but you still have Brian Balmer on vocals there, you still have Greg Fritz Hintz on drums, Daryl Gray on bass back here. And those guys did leave the band for a while. They were all out for a while during the mid-90s and the 2000s, in and out of the band. Just the insert. But then you have new guys in the band, so you've got Chris Juke on guitar, who's been with the band probably for a decade now or more. And then Duckman, Caleb Duck over here. Both those guys have been with the band for quite a while, and they recorded on this album. They don't have any songwriting credits on this album, unfortunately, but from what I understand, the next album will have some songwriting credits from those guys on it. Great guitar players, real nice guys. I met them. Unfortunately, this wasn't out at the time I met them. This is long before I had a working relationship with Helix at all. This is a 12-inch single the band put out by themselves. Yeah, very cool, very expensive collector's item. The reason is, I'll show you why it's so expensive, but Devil is Having a Party Night. Two songs on this. Both songs are exclusive to this release. Let me see, there is a picture sleeve in here. So there's your picture sleeve. It is autographed by the whole band, as you can see. And that was not from when I met them. That was done when you ordered the record directly from the band. So why is this thing so expensive? For 2 songs, so you got The Devil is Having a Party Night and the Tequila song. 2 songs on one side, and you can see it's a red vinyl. It's translucent, but it also has, as you can see, well, it looks like the little devil guy is on the player side, but what it really is a silk screen side over here that has the devil guy printed all over it, and you can see through the translucent red, thus making it look like that. It's a pretty cool single, but it costs as much as, if not more, than a full-length album. So unless you're a Helix fanatic like myself, it's probably not, it's probably not something you're going to want to invest in if it's even still available. I'm pretty sure that it sold out, but it's a cool collector's item nonetheless. It's cool that they had the whole band sign it. And then this is the test pressing for the Helix Christmas album that we did last year. Still have copies of this one left. We did this one on red and green vinyl. This is the test pressing, and as you can see, we sent test pressings out to Brian Vollmer, and he sent me back this cover signed with a little thank you note, which is really, really cool. Wish I would have thought to send the actual album rather than the test pressing cover, but regardless, it's pretty cool to have the test pressing, and because there's only 4 test pressings total. 2 of them went out to Canada to Brian, and 2 of them are here held by myself and Bill Bafford. And then the actual album itself, the Christmas album, and this one's on I'm not gonna show, I won't go into both of them, but red vinyl, and there's also green vinyl copies. Both of them are translucent, and you can see every No Light to Metal release has the fist on it. But I thought this one was just a fun idea to put the Christmas hat on the No Light to Metal fist. So, and I actually did the cover art for this one. It's they put out another Christmas album back. Maybe 5-6 years ago that only came out in Walmart on CD, and it had a similar vibe to it to this one, and they kind of wanted that again. I actually did a couple different covers. One of the rejected covers we ended up using for a Rocks compilation, but I really like this. It's just funny because these little holly leaves that are up in the corner here, and the little berries and all that, it's all hand drawn stuff. I literally scanned in a handful of them and then put it together in Photoshop. So they're just hand drawn little leaves, and then I colored them in Photoshop, and the little skull with the cap on has actually been used for Helix once or twice before. It's of course supposed to be the ribbon, but yeah, if you pre-order this one, you also got a sticker of it. So very cool. It's kind of a compilation. It's got a new song on there called Grandma. Well, it's not new, but a new recording on there that was never released before. Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. It's got some of the songs from I think it's got all the songs from the Walmart released a few years ago, and then it's got All I Want for Christmas Is a Leafs to Win the Cup, which was a song that was recorded for a single and was never released on anything else. So that's the green version, and then here is the Icon series. The Icon series is like a cheap compilation thing in the United States and in Canada. You can usually get the CDs really cheap, and it's usually like 10 songs that are best of, or big hits from bands. That's pretty much what this one is here too. But what you get besides the hits, of course, Rocky was #1 on the playlist here. You get a couple of songs that really weren't released on any other vinyl before. But Gene Simmons says Rocky's Dead, and then Even Jesus Wasn't Left His Hometown, which is actually the single from the Master of the Blues album. So that kind of helped, sales on that album, being on a big label like that. So, and then lastly, this is the old school album. This is the test pressing from, and I need to grab the album itself. I forgot. It's right behind me. There's the old school album. Again, this is on No Less Than Metal album, No Less Than Metal Records. There's a difference in the sound quality from the CD and the vinyl. The CD's got much more highs. The record is much warmer sounding, much more mid-tones and bassy. Depends what you like better. It's mastered by 2 different peoples, part of the issue, and then of course vinyl is just warmer sounding than CD to begin with. But I've heard some people say they like the vinyl better. I've seen people like the CD better. So regardless, it's the same album. It still sounds good either way to me, but there is some slight sound differences. But yeah, this is their latest album, Helix Old School, and this album is actually a collection of old demos. Well, I don't want to say that because everybody thinks it's a compilation of old stuff. It's really not. This is re-recorded songs. All these songs were recorded recently with the current lineup of the band. What they did was Brian found some old tapes in his house and he was cleaning it out. It was going to throw them away, and Greg Godovich from Gado convinced him to see what was on there before he threw them out. Ended up with a bunch of songs that the band had worked on but never officially recorded for an album. So most of these songs, I think 7 of them, were from that old time period. Most of them, I think that all 7 of them, were co-written by Brian and Paul Hackman, who of course passed away. So all these songs were re-recorded. However, they managed to save some, I think 2 or 3 songs have his guitar work on them, either his guitar solos or some rhythm work. I don't know exactly what is on there, but yeah, it's their current lineup, but somehow they managed to include Paul Hackman in there, which is just a great thing. So newly recorded, sounds fantastic, great songs, love this album. It'll be in my top 10 for top 20 for the 2019 year, but there you go, last one, Helix Old School. And then finally, and this is a bootleg. This is Christmas Metal Meeting. I've had this one for a long time. Again, Helix being a heavy metal band with the studs, leather, and the whole bit going on here. Our thanks to Motorhead, Girl School, Merciful Fate, and Talon, who helped us make this wonderful event. So this is it was December 26th, I believe, or 24th. It was either a day before or day after Christmas. 12/26/84. Unfortunately, the sound on this thing is not great. It is definitely a bootleg, not one that you're going to want to listen to over and over again. So unless you're a Helix fanatic like myself and have to own everything by the band, this is not, essential to own. And then quickly, I'm going to go through the 7 inches because I know this is getting into a long video, but I had a lot to show. So Heavy Metal Love. This is a picture disc. Heavy Metal Love, U.S. pressing, picture sleeve, signed by the band. Does a Fool Ever Fall in Love, U.S. single. I think it was the U.S. single. I'm sorry, Canada single. This is a Canadian single. Gimme Gimme Good Lovin', I believe this is a UK European pressing. Rock You, this is a U.S. pressing. Make Me Do Anything You Want. Recognize that cover, it's the same cover that was used on the live album. Back to His Field of Fire. Deep Cuts the Knife. I think this is a German pressing, or I don't know, it's European pressing. Backed with Banging Off the Bricks. This is Deep Cuts the Knife with Ride the Rocket, picture sleeve. Again, this is a European pressing. This is a U.S. radio pressing, Deep Cuts the Knife, same song, both sides. Dream On, backed with, I don't remember what it's backed with. What You Bring to the Party. This is a U.S. pressing of Wild in the Streets, backed with Kiss It Goodbye. Another European single, this is Wild in the Streets, which is funny because Wild in the Streets wasn't on this album, but it's Wild in the Streets backed with The Storm. And then finally, this is a release from probably about 10 years ago now, but it's got Jingle Bells and All I Want for Christmas is the Leafs to win the Cup, and he's still waiting for the Leafs to win the Cup. Go Flyers! And I actually used that back when I did the graphics for the album. I used that image in the back. So there's some 7-inch singles as well. That long video. Sorry, I just had a lot to show. So hope you dug this video. Appreciate y'all watching. Thanks for watching, and look forward to talking to you below. God bless. Stay strong.